Alright gang, welcome back to our vintage survival here on Szpakowo. As with the last previous episodes, I've been working on trying to make things look a little bit neater and nicer around here. So I've added some more fencing here to the front by our house and by our new production here, which is Behemoth, and I'm very happy about it. Added a little bit here as well in front of the mill here. Which we may or may not remove that if the time comes that we do remove this mill, but for the time being we will not be doing that. Now, besides that, today is going to be an extremely busy day. And when I say a busy day, I don't think you understand how busy today is actually going to end up being. We have so many fields to harvest, it is absolute insanity. Let me just show you the map here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 fields are all ready to harvest today. Now, for obvious reasons, we are not going to get every field harvested today. That's just, we know that's not going to happen. So, we are going to have to figure out some ways to get around this. I don't really have a whole lot of money, so I can't really purchase another piece of equipment, another harvester. I did download a few new old vintage harvesters that have come out. One of those looks very promising. Let me show it to you really quick here. And something we're likely going to get. Let's see, here it is. One of these lizards here. These are super old. You can clearly just tell that they're old just by looking at them. I also have the John Deere here as well, which is, you know, a little bit older than that even. But these are super nice. It even has the ability for us to put tracks on it. I don't know why it just did a little hop there, but nonetheless, it is an old school harvester that we could potentially get. It is open air, so that's a little bit of, you know, a step back, I guess, from where we started, but it still has the option for us to also get a corn and sunflower header on it, 5-meter width. That's really good width. So I think we're going to be purchasing this. Now, we don't really have enough money for it right now. We need $57,000. I guess if we went with the smaller version here, we would. One's 4-wheel drive, the other's 2-wheel drive, obviously. So I would prefer, I think, the 4-wheel drive option. So we need a little bit more money than what we currently have to get there. If we went with the smaller option, we would have enough to be able to do it. You know, but anyway, that's something on the radar here for us to try to potentially get into today. Now, what are we going to do today with all this stuff that we have to harvest? Well, really, more than likely what's going to happen here is we're going to have to do a couple episodes for this July month here. I don't think we're going to be able to get all of this done otherwise. Now, we do have August as well that we could harvest some of this stuff in, but I think we'll have more things ready to harvest in August as well. So really, we need to try to get as much as we can done here harvesting. And I put that the wrong way, didn't I? Son of a gun. Let me turn this thing around. Alright, so before I was so rudely interrupted by myself, we've got a lot to harvest today, right? So we're going to have to see what we can get to. We're going to start with this field here by our yard because we already have talked about that this is going to have to be expanded here very, very soon. And realistically, it's probably one of the first things we're going to want to expand here. So we're going to take care of this field first. Especially if we're going to be buying a second harvester. We definitely don't want to leave that harvester out in the elements if we can help it. So this is definitely going to be our first of many yard upgrades that are going to be coming here very, very soon. How's everyone doing today? I hope you're all doing well. Things are good here, man. It's going to be a fun couple of episodes here in a row with all the harvesting. This is I've talked in the past about we had an onslaught of harvesting coming. This is by far the most harvesting we've had to do yet. So this is going to be well, I was going to say a struggle. I don't know if a struggle is the right word, but it's going to be a task for sure. It is going to be a task. So, canola field. The one across the street is an oat field. As a matter of fact, we can kind of look at them. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 canola fields, and 1, 2, 3, 4 oat fields that all need to be harvested today. Quite the feat, to say the least. Now, that harvester I was talking about at the beginning, right, it doesn't have a huge storage capacity, so it's a good thing that we didn't end up getting rid of that second trailer there, because I feel like we're going to need it when the time comes. But nonetheless, it will give us the ability to be able to do the corn and sunflowers now on our fields and feel a little bit more comfortable, you know, about doing so, right? What we were doing before was always a bit of a struggle because we had to utilize a very small header to get there, right? Utilizing that one with a 5-meter width, I think that is plenty sufficient for this type of series. pretty much what we have right now is almost a 6-meter width, so it's around that anyway. So it's about as good as you could possibly get. It's definitely better than what we currently have, which I think is only like a 3-meter width or something like that, 2.5-meter width. I don't even remember. Speaking of that, whenever the time comes for us to upgrade to that second harvester, we will also be selling our current header, which is just over there that I dropped off here at the beginning. Now that thing is not worth a ton of money, I don't think, but we can take a look at it. But I'm pretty sure it's only worth a couple thousand, $1,600, so not even a couple thousand. We might be able to get $1,700 out of it after we do a bit of a repair on it. But that's about the extent of what we're going to get out of that. Let's see, what else can we talk about today? I don't really have a whole lot to talk about today, if I'm honest with you, gang. Normally I have all kinds of stuff to talk about. Normally I'm just, you know, full of random chat and you know, whatever it is I have to talk about. I'm normally just going to ramble on, but I really don't have a whole lot to talk about today. I don't really have a whole lot on my mind. I don't really have a whole lot to talk about. I'd like to get that production going, I guess, is what we can go to next. I'd like to get that production going here pretty soon. But to do so, obviously, we're going to need a little bit of help. Now, we do have some straw across the way there, the oat and then the other oat fields, right? So we can get some straw out of that, which is going to help tremendously. But I think it's just going to be a matter of if it's going to work out for us today or not. I'd also like to... you know, I'm saying all this like, you know, all of these things that I want to do are going to require money to do it, right? So it's all a matter if we have enough money to do it. And pretty much everything we're going to be harvesting and utilizing today is not going to be the best time to sell it. So we're really probably not going to sell it unless we, you know, somehow come up with a way to make some more money to get close to buying that second harvester. Then maybe it's worth it. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see, I guess. But I would love to start that production with the straw today, if at all possible. We also can put down some honey and try to get that going. If you recall, there was a hat that requires honey, which I thought was kind of interesting. We can look at it again here. Right here. The corn and honey, right? Maztex hats. So that was interesting, right? The straw hats just literally just only require straw, so that's a very easy one for us to do, and that's why I'm saying I'd like to start that today so we can get those hats going. Now, this canola that we're harvesting right now is literally going to be going into the mill to make us some canola oil. We're going to have a lot going in there, so it will get full very quickly, which means at that point... Whoops, nope, get it off a worker. Which means at that point, we will just have to put it straight into the silo. Which is good, because we haven't really utilized the silo a whole lot. We did move over, obviously, the corn and the soybeans we had, but then we sold that recently, so, you know, there's not really anything in there right now. So it'll be nice to be able to put some stuff in there and start utilizing that again. And it's going to be utilized pretty heavily. The mill that we have, as we've talked about many times, it does not have a big storage to it. Now, I don't know, I don't remember, I don't think we really had a whole lot at that point, but what I was going to say is I don't know if it's going to be able to take or share from the current silos we put down or not. So if you recall, the original silo we had, which had a bit of a shed with it as well, the mill was just taking product directly out of that silo to utilize, which was good and bad. A bit bad because I didn't necessarily early on want it to do that, but as we moved along, it ended up being okay and paying off. I don't know if it's going to do the same thing with these silos or not. I would assume it does, but I really don't know. I haven't tested it out, so I guess today will be a big test for it, right? Figuring out if it's actually going to share the capacity with the silos for the mill or not. If it does, fantastic. That's, you know, one less trip I have to take over there to drop it off. But if it doesn't, it doesn't. Now, as far as what we're going to do here with this, we've talked about this in the past, and I've kind of not really, but I've changed my mind to a little bit of an extent. I'm more than likely going to be taking out the entirety of this field probably this time. Now, what we're going to be putting down today is not going to take up the entirety of the field. But some things we're going to be putting in over here I think will, and if we re-drill this, we're going to have to wait a whole other season to do so. And I think at this point we've bought enough fields that we probably can remove this one for the most part. Now, I've also talked about buying the field over here to the left, which right now there's nothing in it. It's just, that right here to our immediate left, it's just kind of a weeded field. We've talked about buying that one and kind of making that the extension of what this field was. That's still potentially on the radar, but we obviously don't have the money for that right now, especially if I'm trying to... Gosh, quit putting it on a worker. Especially if I'm trying to potentially buy a new harvester, right? A second harvester, I guess that's how I should put it. Now, we did have some hail damage overnight. I didn't really look closely at, what kind of damage our fields received. I did think there was a little bit right there. I don't know if it was really noticeable or not on camera, but I think there was a little bit around that pole. I guess it could have been just I missed drilling it. That could have been it, too, but I do believe there was a little bit of damage there. I'm not sure if we had any damage. It looks like it. Yeah, I can see it from a distance. If you look far, far in the distance, you can see the shadow there. On that oat field. So there's some hail damage there as well. So I suspect that we're going to have that in most of the fields, unfortunately. Now, one thing we haven't seen on this series, at least, well, it's been there, but it hasn't been close to us yet, is any kind of tornado. And really, every series that I've done, I haven't really had any heavy involvement with a tornado. In other words, the tornado has always been not near us, so it hasn't actually harmed or impacted any of our fields. Not that I necessarily want it to, but I kind of want to see it impact some of our fields. I just want to experience that once. It has not done that yet. Very close in some other series that we've done, but it's never actually impacted any of our fields yet. So I know at some point it will happen, and it's probably going to be in a situation where maybe we're starting a new series and we're struggling for some funds early on, and that's probably when we'll get hit by the tornado. That would be my luck. But yeah, I kind of want it to hit me to an extent. Like I mentioned, I don't, but I do. I do just to see it. I don't because I don't want us to have to go through that hardship. If it is going to hit us, I'd prefer it to hit us, well, now, quite frankly, because we're well established here. So even if we lose a little bit of the crop, it's not going to be anything drastic or severe. One thing, speaking of that tornado, one thing I wish it did do is that it would, if it went through like your yard area or something like that, it actually damaged your sheds and things like that, where you had to repair them. You had to pay to repair them, something like that. I wish it would do that. I really do. But evidently that's not going to be the case. So that's unfortunate, but that's just what I wish would happen. So I'm going to get the semi out here. I'm actually going to put the canola in the semi. I know that might not be what you think I'm going to do here, but I am, because I'm now going to move over to the oat field. We're going to take care of these two fields first, because as I've mentioned, these are the fields we're going to be expanding, right? We're going to be expanding to these two fields first. So I would like to get these done. So if it permits, money permits, etc., we don't have to worry about, well, we got to get it harvested first. That's already been accomplished, right? So this one, we're likely going to take up, while that's unloading, I can kind of talk you through it a little bit. So before I said I was just going to go out to like here or whatever, I think at this point I'm just going to take this and go all the way to the end of this field and then all the way over here. So all of this will then be the sanded gravel type of stuff. This, I'm not positive what I'm going to do. I'm more than likely going to expand it a little bit here to the pole, because this little section here is kind of annoying. But as far as from here over to this way, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that yet. Perhaps I turn that into a bit of a perhaps we turn that into a bit of a grass field or something like that for the time being. Eventually, like I said, we'll probably buy that field, and then maybe we can expand those two together, or combine those two together. But for the time being, yeah, I think it's probably gonna just turn into a grass field. I don't really see a reason to have a crop field that small. We already have one small one up there, and I've got some ideas for that now too. We didn't really put in what my idea was for that the first time, but that's okay. We will get there soon enough. So we're going to drop straw here. We definitely don't want to not drop straw. We want to try to get that straw so we can turn that into the straw hats. Now, realistically, to get the straw hats going, I'm probably going to, you know, bale up some of the straw on this field. I can already tell you, considering how much we have to harvest, and that's a little bit more important right now. Because we only have so much time to harvest this stuff, right? So I think more than likely what I'll do is just get a couple of bales of straw and then drop the straw off into the production and then kind of leave it as is for the time being, and then the rest of the straw we can pick up once we're done with all the harvests. I just think the harvests right now are a little bit more important, just a little bit. But at least we can get the hats started if we put a couple of bales in there, right? Now, as far as this area goes over here, I've got some ideas. One thing I would like to do, if we can make it work. So, if you are around, and I'm assuming you probably were, but if not, if you're around for the one-tile challenge, at one point I was trying everything I could to get a coal factory or a coal mine to work. There was some mods that were not working. I want to attempt to do that again on this series. The reason why I want to is because I think the building itself looks like it's a little bit older. And while coal mining absolutely 100% still happens a lot, it is a little bit of an older type of, you know, resource, you know, mining. At least it's an older resource to mine. It's been around for a while is what I mean by that, right? So I'd like to put that down, I think, on this series. And I think right here in this corner that we're at right now is almost the perfect spot to put it. Now, you might be saying, why is that the perfect spot? Well, it's kind of in a weird, awkward area here that kind of sticks out, right? And the production itself is kind of an awkward shape. And it almost perfectly fits into that corner where it takes up some of that space in that corner that would otherwise probably just be wasted space. So I think that's likely where we're going to end up putting that. And I'll show you what that means when we get closer. It's not going to be today. It probably won't be tomorrow. It's not going to be today. It probably won't be the next episode. And honestly, it probably won't even be the episode after that. But more than likely, when we get closer here to the off-season, to some winter months again, that is going to be something that we look to put in. So if I don't do it for some reason, make sure you let me know in the comments down at that point that I forgot about that. And maybe it's that I didn't forget about it, but some other things came up that were a little bit more important than that. I want to put that down, but it's not really a moneymaker per se. It is a moneymaker because once you place it down, it is technically free coal that just drops. But you're not making a ton of money off coal. Coal is not really worth anything. Now, the only other thing that the reason I could be waiting on it for is that there's some kind of mod that is still having, a confliction issue with it. That seems to be the biggest issue that I'm dealing with that mod, and I don't understand why it happens that way, but it does. It just does not like something that I had installed when we were doing the one-tile challenge, and from what I could gather during that challenge, it was one of my selling points that I was utilizing. So, I don't really have any specific sell points on this series. I don't have any specific sell points put down either on the Luxury Tax Challenge series, which are the two main series that we're doing right now as far as Farming Simulator goes. So as long as I removed everything, and as long as there's nothing else that I've installed since then that is causing an issue, hopefully we'll actually be able to finally see that coal factory, mine, whatever you want to call it, in action. And I think that's another good thing for the secondary trailer we got, right? We can throw that secondary trailer underneath it, and it'll just drop coal straight into it. Or in theory, it just drops coal straight into it. So that way, whenever it's full, we can go and sell it. Now, it might be a bit of an issue once once we remove the trailer out of there, because it's going to be dropping it onto the ground area there. But probably would be a bit before it got to a point where there's too much on the ground and you start actually noticing it, if that makes sense. And what I mean by that is you're driving over top of it and actually seeing, the trailer or whatever raise up in the air because there's coal on the ground. I'm trying to make sure all of the straw is dropped in the field and not over here on the road. I have a habit of doing that sometimes where I get a little bit impatient and I don't wait for the straw to finish dropping, and then it drops some on the road and then I can't pick it up. I really don't want that to happen because then I don't think it looks good, because I can never get it up. So now this is a lot of oat in here, a lot of oat. Eventually here, once we start getting going, we're likely going to have to utilize a worker a bit for some of these harvests. It's not even likely. We probably will have to utilize a worker, because we're going to have to be doing some carting action, right? We're going to be carting stuff back and forth. One other thing I need to look at, let's do a quick save here, but one other thing we need to look at, I don't think I have looked at it in a bit. They are good, but they could use a little bit of water, so we might want to do that today. No more wood in there. There's some wood chips for us to sell at some point. Pickles are still going strong. Whoops. I was afraid of that. I was afraid I was going to miss a line here because, in case you stumbled across it and don't know, we are not allowing GPS on this series. And I mean, the worker obviously has to use GPS, but me, myself, whenever I'm doing something, I cannot use GPS because most of the equipment that we have in the game, or, you know, that would be in the 90s, would have very small, or older, 90s or older, would have very little, if any, GPS at all. Unless it was maybe the late 90s. That might have been when it first started really appearing. But, yeah, we're just basically not allowing GPS at all in this series. We haven't since the beginning. And I've been doing actually a relatively decent job of not utilizing the steering assist or GPS or whatever, which is... I was not actually expecting myself to do as good as I have, actually. I was expecting myself to get into the groove, and then I just put it on to the steering assist and get going. But I haven't. I've been doing decent, and that's mostly because of, I think, the past, where we've never had that on console. We've never had that luxury on console until this game. So I would think if I was on PC, I probably would be a little more prone to jumping straight into that every single time. I'm getting used to it now. When it first came out, I wasn't 100% positive I really wanted to utilize it or not. I started utilizing it. I ended up actually liking it more than I thought I was going to. So it is nice. It is convenient, especially when you're utilizing, you know, it for things like fertilizer or, you know, whatever, things like that, where you're definitely, oops, I did it again. You're definitely, you know, getting the most for your money. You're getting the biggest bang for your money there, because you're making sure that you're only getting the parts that need it, and you're not going over it multiple times or double fertilizing or whatever, right? So, yeah, I've rambled on for a lot longer than I said I was going to. I ended up, I guess, having some things to talk about more than I thought I was going to, but let's get going on getting the rest of this field done. We're going to get some other fields knocked out as well, and then we will see where we are. Very heavy on the harvesting today, gang, so hopefully you got your popcorn and you're excited for some harvesting, because that is what we are doing. All right, well, that is taking a while, but we got a lot done. We actually ended up getting a lot more of the oat fields done. Didn't do any more of the canola fields. I accidentally started to try to harvest one of the fields that was a wheat field, or a barley field. I think it was a barley field. Thought it was an oat field. That was a mistake on my part. It was barley field. But nonetheless, we need to start working on a little bit more of the canola fields as well. I think the next one I will focus on is 66, 67. Then that means we'll have the 68, 69 field to do, the 81, 92 field to do. I don't think the 76, 77 is ready yet. I could be wrong. It's not. The 134, 135, and the 133 field to do still. So that's still quite a lot of fields, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish to do. And then we may have 6-ish to do, I guess. And then the next episode, well, maybe not the next episode, but the next month, these are going to be ready to be harvested. So is this one. Yeah, lots and lots and lots to do. Not that that's a bad thing. It's a good thing, but just a lot to do. Okay, so I'm going to put a worker on starting this. We're going to bring the oat back, and then we're going to go ahead and grab that other bale of straw and put that into our production, and we're going to go ahead and turn on the hats, because we haven't turned that on yet. I just went ahead and dropped some of those directly out, and evidently, I don't know how I did that. I drilled part of this field into there. Maybe the worker did it. I don't know how I did that. I don't know. More than likely, that's going to be a bit of an issue that we're going to have to deal with, but nonetheless, we will get the worker started on this one. Now, everything that I've had so far has been able to go into the mill. Now, I don't remember, and you know, I should remember by now, but I don't. I don't remember exactly how much room the mill has. I feel like it's 5,000, and if it is, we put more than 5,000 into it. Nope, I'm wrong. It holds a ton. It just does not hold a ton of outgoing product. That's my mistake. Whoops. Oh well. Anyway, we are moving at least with the canola oil again, and the oat flour is going as well. So those are both good, right? They're going to continue to chew through that. So I stand corrected as far as the space goes. Now that space actually might be because it's sharing. Actually, now that I think about it, it probably is because it's sharing. It's not specifically that it has that much space. It's utilizing that space from the silos. So maybe I was correct with my statement. Maybe it was like 5,000. Maybe I was correct. Either way, it looks like it might be potentially sharing. So I guess we'll only know. Well, yeah, I guess we won't even know. But I guess the only way we can figure it out is if we walked up to the silo and see if it tells us. But I don't know if it will or not. I still don't really love this bump that we have here, but it could be worse. It could be worse. It doesn't really say. Doesn't really say. But I'm going to dump this in here and see if it actually moves over to here or not. I don't think it did. I don't think it did. It says 7,306 liters of oat. It doesn't. Interesting. Okay. Well, I mean, I guess that's a good thing. Well, I don't know. Maybe it does. Because the canola says 4,894, and that's what the production says. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. I'm literally fretting about something that doesn't really make a big difference. It really doesn't matter either way. All I know is the mill's working and the silo's working, so it doesn't really matter. Now these are a little bit of a tight squeeze in here, but we're able to get through here pretty easily. Any bigger than this, though, as far as the semi goes, like I talked about in the past, any bigger than that, we would have major issues. I'd have to remove some of those fences too, for sure. Alright, so let's get this last bale and put it over here. And, yeah, I think we'll start working on maybe a bit of an expansion here that we talked about. Obviously, the harvester is not going to happen today. We just don't have enough money. Now, if we did a contract, maybe we could get there, maybe. We'd have to do one of these larger contracts, which I don't really want to do because we've got enough to do ourselves, right? So, yeah, it's not even really worth the time. So I'm not going to worry about those. So we'll just we'll hold off. Eventually we will get there that we can buy that other harvester. But really, with the exception of, you know, if we do buy it, we would be buying the normal header. We wouldn't be buying the sunflower and corn header right now because we don't have corn ready to harvest right now. So really it wouldn't be a help to us if we only bought the corn header, if that makes sense, right? We'd have to buy the other header too. So I just don't think it's really worth doing right now. I mean, it probably is for the smaller version of it, or well, I say the smaller version. I don't think it really is a difference, but I kind of want the one with the tracks on it. Just I don't normally do ones with tracks on it, so I kind of want to do that one just because it has tracks on it. Anyway, we'll just leave that there for right now. Worker is no idea what the worker's doing, but that's fine. Let them continue doing what they're doing, I guess. We'll kind of head on over here with this, at least get it in the area, because we more than like, well, I don't know. I was going to say we more than likely will have to unload. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. I'm going to put this kind of here in the middle. Hopefully that's out of the way. Okay. So let's start working on this a little bit. It is going to cost us a little bit of money to do this, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. There it is. This is what we want. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to expand this a little bit here. Oops, a little bit too far on that one, but that's all right. Just trying to keep this as close as I can here and not go over. I don't really want to go over if at all, if I can help it. Okay. Okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. Good, good, good. I'm gonna do this too. I'll get rid of some of that. Try to make that look a little bit better too. Alright, so we'll go ahead and paint the rest of this in. I know this is a large area. Cost us a pretty penny to do that, but it wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible by any means. Yeah, I'm good with that. Alright. So there you go. So we've got a much, much larger area here, which is going to be super nice for us. Now, what are we going to do with this? Well, really, we need more sheds, right? We've got a lot of equipment. Honestly, these are fine where they are, but I think I'm going to move them. Not only is it going to open up a little bit more space here by the house, it just makes a little bit more sense to have most of our equipment all in the same area here, so we're going to do that. I think I'm also going to potentially expand this a little bit as well, so we're going to cut into this a little bit too, but I mean, eventually, like I said, this whole field is going to more than likely go away, and in other words, it's not going to be a field anymore. It's going to be other things we're going to place down. Now, do I need to expand it this far? No, and I just screwed it up a little bit, but do I need to expand it this far? Absolutely not. I do not, but we're going to. Since I've already screwed that up a little bit, we'll come back and get the plow and fix that. Yeah, that's better. Now, obviously, this is the only entrance we have here, but it opens up here eventually, and once we get rid of this, which we will be doing soon enough, it's going to be a lot of space for us to be able to drive through here and around if we need to. Eventually, as mentioned, things are going to go in this area, but for now, that's going to be sufficient for me for the time being. Alright, so let's see. What kind of shed can we put down? We don't have a ton of money, and again, I don't want to spend a ton of money either because, I mean, really, we want to get that harvester, right? So any money that I spend here is going to, you know, delay us from being able to buy anything further. I'm kind of tempted to go with the same sheds here. Puts a lot of space in the middle, but I think I kind of have an idea for that middle too to try to make it look a little bit better. Not that it won't look good, but you get what I mean, I guess. $7,000 is a lot of money, though. Tell you what, we're gonna hold off on putting the shed down for right now. Let's just hold off on putting the shed down for the time being. It will be put down soon enough, but let's just hold off for doing that right now. That's a lot more money than I actually was wanting to spend today. And if I do that, I'm gonna put 2 of them down, which is $14,000. And now we're down to 30 grand and nowhere near the ability to buy the second harvester that we've been kind of preaching about since the beginning here. So we're gonna hold off on doing that. I'm going to go ahead and finish up getting the rest of the straw up off of this field. I'm not going to worry about the other ones right now. We will do those, but I'm not going to worry about them right now. Let's get the rest of these up. And while we're doing this, once I get the cruise control on here, there we go. Let's go into our factory here, and let's turn on the straw hats. Let's get those going. It looks like it does need... does not. I was going to say, it looks like it does need some water. They do not need water. I think all the other ones do. But the straw hats don't, so that's good. So the straw hats are working for us, so we're going to actually start making a little bit of money. Now, as far as the straw hats go, I don't know if we're going to have a location where we can sell those or if I need to put down a sell point, which may end up posing a threat to what I talked about a little bit ago with the coal, right? The coal mine. Let's see, straw hats. It's going to take me a minute to find those. Let me get to the end here. I'm just going to stop for a second. All right, let's see if we can find straw hats in here. It's going to go all the way to the bottom, and here you go. You're going to hear it again. Giants, give me the ability to favorite things. Come on, man. It can't be that difficult. Straw hats. Okay, there is locations that I can sell. I can actually sell this at the construction site. Dang, we're making a ton of money off straw hat. Look at that. Oh. Oh, if we just stumbled across the gold mine here. Oh, my goodness. I did not realize that we were going to make that much money off of straw hats. Giddy up. That's going to help us out tremendously, man. Is it fluctuate that much? I mean, not really. It's like $300 in fluctuation. I kind of want to spawn one first just to see one. Then at that point forward, I'm probably going to put that on auto selling. I mean, that's $300 of fluctuation. I don't really care about that. This is straw that we make no money off of normally anyway. When we pick it up, we just go sell it and make a couple $1,000 just to say we got a little extra money. That is a huge payday because of straw. Now, maybe it takes a lot of straw to make them. I don't know. 12 straw for 3 hats? I don't know. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I guess we'll figure it out. The worker completed their task, huh? I don't know if I believe that, but it says they did. So let me get around the corner here, and we will take a bit of a break on this and see how the worker did. Yeah, they took out some of that other crop, but that's fine. It wasn't going to be that much to make that big of a difference, I don't think. That's my opinion. Alright, we'll let that unload while we finish doing this. We still have a lot of fields to take care of, man. That time lapse we did was a long one, man. But you know, I'll speed it up to probably 8 times speed, so it should only be 3 or 4 minutes, which is still really long for a time lapse. But man, those straw hats, they're going to make us an absolute fortune, man. Holy smokes. Alright, this field, for the most part, should be cleaned up. I think there's a couple little straggling areas here, but probably get rid of most of it when I paint it over the ground there, or put some sand or gravel down. I'm just going to dump this guy straight in here, too. Because why not? Alright, how much do we have in there as far as straw goes? Actually, decent amount. 36,000 liters of straw. That's gonna be good. They'll start chewing through that. I want to eventually, once we get maybe some corn hats going, potentially, I might get honey. Might get some bees going, but maybe, even though bees are very much not really worth it from what we've noticed, right? right, I want to put this away for the time being because we're going to have plenty of this to do here coming up, but we don't need to work on it right now. Straw can be picked up at any time, even though in real life it probably would start to decay a little bit if you left it on the ground for too long, but like I said, the harvests are a little bit more important right now, so... Alright, that is done. Let's get one more field done today. And I think I'd be pretty happy then. If we get one more field, let's do a quick autosave here. If we get one more field, that's going to give us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more fields that haven't been harvested. But that is, I guess, a little bit dependent upon... Yeah, we were gonna do a second episode in July, so never mind. Just ignore everything I was just even trying to say or thinking about there. I didn't really get a whole lot of that out, but just ignore my thoughts there for a second. We'll get one more field done, and then the rest of those fields we can finish in the second episode here in July. I think that'll be sufficient. The straw, we'll have to just kind of play it by ear. We're going to have more fields to harvest in August, but it won't be as many as we do right now. Don't put it on a worker. I'm not saying a worker. I've said this before, but in case you just happen to stumble across this and are still watching at this point, the reason why that happens sometimes is because the buttons on controller, they're very similar. So if you want to put it on a worker, or if you want to pick up or drop the header, it's a very similar button mashing setup. So sometimes either I just don't hit them right, or it doesn't register right, and yeah, turns on a worker. Don't really want it to always turn on a worker, but sometimes it does. There's not really a whole lot I can do about that. So we're going to take care of this small field here. Now, more than likely what's going to happen here, I've talked about this already in the past, we're going to take this field and combine it with the field here to the left. That field over there to the left that is still growing next to the one that's ready to harvest that has hail damage in it in the distance. Those two are going to combine. That's going to be probably our largest field we have. It's going to be a massive, massive field. And then we're going to try to clean up a little bit more of this little track that I made here. There was a track there already. We just tried to expand it a little bit. I don't really like how it came out. I actually don't really like the track that we put in to go from our yard over to this side either. I need to work on that a little bit more, but the problem with that is we have very limited space there. Here, we've got really unlimited space. It just depends on how we want to set it up. So I'm going to change that around a little bit and try to make it a little bit straighter so it's not such a jaggedy, awkward-looking field, or, well, field and road, really. So we'll work on that a little bit. But that'll be a bit before we do that. Obviously, that's going to be something that is either in the winter months or right before we get ready to drill it. Whatever we decide to put in that field over there, it might end up being oat or maybe something next year. I don't know yet. Corn, sunflowers, who knows? I'll figure something out, but that might be one of the ones we hold off on. So I'm going to put this on a worker for a brief moment here because we need to take this over to here. Get ready to unload it. Guess I can put the cover back on and just run right into the building. Good job, Z. Way to go, buddy. Now, I think the biggest problem we're going to have with doing this is I have to get rid of those trees, which I might have talked about recently-ish. I say ish as in previous episodes. It might have been the reason why I didn't do it. But we'll see. I mean, we've got poles in the other fields and we get by them, so maybe we'll figure it out. Maybe we'll figure it out. Can you please turn on? Thank you. Didn't really drop a whole lot in there, but I figured I might as well drop a little bit while we're going by. So let's get the rest of this field done. It'll only take a few seconds, and then, yeah, we'll see what else, if we do anything else before the end of the episode. Alright, we are all done with that field. Didn't take too long. We'll go ahead and drop this into here. Then we can go and take this and unload it. I'm probably going to leave the harvester up here because, as I mentioned, we're going to continue the progress here of harvesting in the next episode. We kind of have to. We got to get all these fields harvested. Well, as many as we can. While we can carry 1 or 2 over to the next month, we certainly can. But, as I mentioned a number of times now, there are other fields that will be ready to harvest next month too. So, as many as we can get done, I think the better. So let's go take this back, drop this canola off here, and I think we'll probably be done with the episode at that point, gang. We'll see where we are with the straw hats, and if anything has happened yet. I would assume some of them have been made, but probably not enough to get a pallet out yet. But between... Whoa, we just jackknifed. Between now and the next episode, we'll certainly probably have some more that will happen before we move to August. Watch out, sir. Coming through. Very, very, very... I know I've said this a couple of times now, but I'm very happy with how this all turned out. This whole area that we've been kind of working on, trying to make look better and everything else. I'm really, really happy with it. Makes me excited to get back into this series every time and play it with the way that we've turned it around and made it look really nice. Really, really nice. Alright, so that is in there. Let's see, how are we doing here? 136 liters of straw hats have already been made, so that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So they'll continue to carry on here, gang, and as I said, we'll probably work towards getting some of this other stuff going here. Probably the Maze Tech hats, I'm more than likely going to lean towards doing those for sure. We don't really have a digestate, and we're not going to probably in this series. I don't really plan to do cows or anything of that sort that would allow us to get digestate. Now, if we did silage with a factory, there's potential that we could get digestate out of that, but we're not going to. We're just utilizing that silage pole because that's really the closest thing we got, time period-wise right now. So, but anyway, we're going to leave the episode at that point. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, smash the like and subscribe button in case you have yet to do so. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for your continued support. Thank you to my members. Cannot thank you guys enough. There's a link down below if you're interested in that. And we'll see you next time.